Two people live on the same street. Both drive similar cars, eat at the same cafes, and even attend the same events. One earns $95,000 a year, but is drowning in credit card debt, living paycheck to paycheck, and terrified of an unexpected expense. The other makes $52,000, a lot less, yet has 18 months of savings, investments quietly growing, and a calm confidence about the future. You might think income is the difference, but it's not. The difference is a mindset, a set of habits that most people never realize even exist. Most people believe financial security comes from earning more, work harder, get a promotion, maybe win the lottery. That's the story we're told. But the truth is, money isn't about how much comes in. It's about how it's managed, how decisions are made, and how priorities are set. The person making $95,000 may be spending impulsively, upgrading their lifestyle with every raise, chasing the newest gadget, or trying to keep up with others. Meanwhile, the $52,000 earner lives deliberately, tracks spending, and lets their money quietly grow in the background. Here's a secret most people don't see. Everything you buy costs money twice. First, when you pay for it. Second, when you spend your time, energy, or even stress maintaining it. Bigger houses, fancier cars, a wardrobe full of trendy items. They drain not just your wallet, but your life. Minimalism in money isn't about depriving yourself. It's about creating space, simplicity, and freedom in your finances. Every dollar saved is a tiny step toward independence, a small choice that compounds into major security over time. Imagine two people. One buys the newest smartphone every year, paying $1,200 plus accessories and apps. The other keeps their phone for 3 or 4 years. That first person enjoys a brief thrill, while the second watches that $1,200 quietly grow in an investment account. After 10 years, that difference isn't just a few $1,000s, it could be tens of thousands, all from small, consistent decisions. Small habits, repeated over time, create massive outcomes. So, how do you start? How do you move from stress and uncertainty to calm, confident control over your money? It starts with simplicity in spending. Think of it as creating financial frictionless flow. Money moves efficiently, serving you instead of controlling you. The first habit is simple but transformative. Always spend less than you earn. It sounds obvious, yet so many people fail at it. Budgeting isn't punishment, it's freedom. Jane, for example, earns $60,000 a year. Instead of spending every dollar, she lives on $45,000. The remaining $15,000 isn't just extra cash. It becomes an emergency fund, a stepping stone for investments, and a shield against life's unexpected blows. Living below your means gives you options, flexibility, and ultimately, peace of mind. Next, you need awareness. You can't control what you don't measure. Tracking every dollar might sound tedious, but it's one of the most powerful tools you have. Mark tracked his spending for 3 months and discovered he was wasting $400 a month on subscriptions he barely used. Canceling them freed nearly $5,000 a year, money he could save, invest, or use to create freedom. Awareness creates control. When you know where every dollar goes, unnecessary expenses vanish, often without any sacrifice to your lifestyle. Another essential habit is paying yourself first. Instead of saving what's left over, automate savings to ensure it happens before you spend. Maria sets up an automatic transfer of 20% of her paycheck into a high-yield savings account. She never touches it, never misses it. And over time, the balance grows silently but powerfully. Small, consistent savings eventually turn into security, and then into opportunity. It's also important to buy quality, not quantity. Minimalism isn't about being cheap, it's about being intentional. Cheap items often cost more in the long run. One durable jacket that lasts 10 years is better than 3 cheap ones bought over the same period. You save money, reduce clutter, and gain mental clarity. Every possession has a hidden cost: maintenance, storage, and the mental load of ownership. Choose carefully. One of the biggest traps is lifestyle inflation. Many people celebrate raises with bigger homes, faster cars, or luxury vacations. But this quiet creep can erode financial freedom faster than any debt. Tom received a 20% raise but kept his expenses steady, investing the difference instead. 5 years later, those investments were worth more than the raise itself. Controlling lifestyle inflation is one of the most powerful habits for long-term wealth. Experiences often beat possessions. A memorable trip or a shared moment with friends creates joy and satisfaction that things rarely match. Anna spent $500 on a weekend hiking trip with friends instead of buying a designer handbag. Months later, she still cherishes the memories, whereas the handbag lost its appeal after a few weeks. Prioritizing experiences over things reduces wasteful spending and increases life satisfaction, a core principle of minimalist money. Debt is another silent thief of freedom. It's a tool, not a lifestyle. Credit cards and loans often fund lifestyles beyond our means. Living debt-free, or using debt strategically for investments like a home or education, frees up cash flow, reduces stress, and opens opportunities. Dave avoided consumer debt entirely and only used a mortgage to invest in a home with a manageable interest rate. He now enjoys freedom and financial clarity many people never experience. Finally, simplify your finances. Too many accounts, subscriptions, or investment platforms create confusion and mistakes. Lisa consolidated her accounts to one checking, one savings, and one investment platform. In 10 minutes a month, she sees her full financial picture. Simplicity reduces stress, limits errors, and makes decision-making faster and more intentional. Even with the habits we've discussed so far, people still struggle because money isn't just numbers. It's deeply emotional. We often spend for reasons we barely notice. Lifestyle inflation creeps in because we compare ourselves to our friends, neighbors, or the endless highlight reels on social media. Instant gratification tempts us into small purchases that feel good now, but silently steal our future security. Fear of missing out, cultural messages equating possessions with success, even anxiety about money. All these pressures shape our choices, often without conscious awareness. The more we understand this, the more control we regain. Recognizing that these urges are natural lets us pause, breathe, and make intentional decisions rather than reactive ones. Impulse buying, for instance, isn't about weakness. It's about biology and environment. Our brains are wired to seek immediate rewards. Advertisements, influencer culture, and peer pressure constantly reinforce this desire. But awareness transforms that automatic behavior. When you pause before making a purchase, when you ask yourself if this item aligns with your values or your long-term goals, you shift from being a consumer to being a strategist with your money. That simple pause, even just a day's delay on non-essential spending, can save thousands over the years. Building financial security also requires practical, repeatable steps. Start by automating savings. Make it non-negotiable, like a bill you pay yourself first. Audit your subscriptions because they silently drain cash. Cancel anything you no longer use. Track spending weekly, not daily, not obsessively, but enough that you understand patterns. Set intentional goals for your money. An emergency fund, investments, or retirement contributions. Simplify your accounts so that your financial picture is clear and actionable. Focus on experiences, investing in moments that enrich your life instead of fleeting possessions. Reflect at least once a month. Review spending, adjust habits, and ask yourself, is this serving my future freedom? Minimalist money habits aren't about deprivation. They're about prioritization. Every dollar you save or invest is a vote for the life you want. It's a quiet, patient form of rebellion against consumer culture. By choosing intentionally, you create the space for freedom. Freedom to leave a job that drains you. Freedom to travel without debt. Freedom to face emergencies without fear. Money becomes a tool, not a chain. Let's return to our two neighbors on the same street. The person earning $95,000 still worries about bills, still frets over debt, still sacrifices sleep for work, even though the paycheck is bigger. The neighbor earning $52,000 sleeps soundly, knowing every dollar is working toward a goal, a plan, a future. The difference wasn't income, luck, or opportunity. It was the habits they practiced consistently. One chased status and consumption, the other chased clarity, simplicity, and long-term security. Financial freedom often feels elusive because people chase it in the wrong ways. They focus on complex strategies, risky investments, or trying to get rich quick while ignoring the fundamentals. Minimalist money habits are deceptively simple. Spend less than you earn, track your spending, pay yourself first, buy quality, avoid lifestyle inflation, value experiences over things, manage debt strategically, and simplify your finances. Simple habits, repeated consistently, accumulate into extraordinary results. It's worth noting that adopting these habits isn't always easy. Our environment constantly pushes us toward spending. Friends, colleagues, and social media bombard us with ideas of what a successful life looks like. But here's the truth. True success isn't measured by possessions, the latest tech, or an Instagram feed. True success is freedom. The freedom to make choices without fear, the freedom to say yes to opportunities, the freedom to live intentionally than reactively. Every habit you adopt compounds like interest in a bank account. Each month you save instead of splurge. Each time you pause before buying, each time you invest instead of consuming, your financial security grows quietly but relentlessly. And unlike most hacks or quick fixes, these habits are sustainable for life. They build not just wealth, but resilience, confidence, and peace of mind. In the end, money is more than a tool. It's a reflection of priorities, values, and discipline. The people who sleep well at night, who face emergencies with calm, who build a future instead of chasing fleeting pleasures, are not special. They simply make intentional choices consistently. Minimalist money habits give them leverage, clarity, and control over life in a way that chasing higher income alone never can. So, as you reflect on your own life, consider this. Do your choices build freedom, or do they feed stress and chaos? Are your purchases supporting your goals, or are they filling a void? Every dollar saved, every intentional decision, every habit that aligns spending with values is a step toward lasting security. Returning once more to our neighbors, one continues a life of stress and financial fragility, despite earning nearly twice as much, while the other builds wealth quietly and confidently. Neither had a secret formula, only disciplined habits and a minimalist mindset. And that is the real power of financial simplicity. It is not about deprivation, it is about alignment. Alignment of money with life purpose, simplicity with freedom, and habits with happiness. The ultimate lesson is clear. Freedom is not in more, it's in less, done intentionally. Every dollar, every choice, every habit is a vote for the life you want. Build wisely, live deliberately, and let your money serve you, not the other way around. Because at the end of the day, financial security is not about how much you earn, but about how thoughtfully you manage, conserve, and grow what you already have. The minimalist path may feel small at first, but over time, it becomes enormous, a quiet, unstoppable force that shapes your future, your peace of mind, and ultimately, your life. And the minimalist mindset. And that is the real power of financial simplicity. It is not about deprivation. It is about alignment. Alignment of money with life purpose, simplicity with freedom, and habits with happiness. But there is something else most people don't talk about when it comes to money, something subtle, almost invisible, and that is the mental weight of complexity. Every subscription you forget about, every loan payment you owe, every item you bought but rarely use, every bill waiting in your inbox. Each of these things quietly occupies space in your mind. When finances are complicated, life becomes complicated. Think about it. Imagine waking up in the morning knowing you owe 5 different debts, multiple credit cards, and a long list of monthly expenses. Even before the day begins, your mind is already negotiating stress. Now, imagine the opposite. You wake up knowing your expenses are simple, your savings are automatic, your investments are quietly growing, and there is space in your life to think about things that actually matter: your family, your creativity, your health, your future. That is the hidden reward of minimalist money habits. They don't just improve your bank account, they simplify your mind. Because money problems are rarely just money problems. They are attention problems. The more things you own, the more things own you. A bigger house means more furniture. More furniture means more maintenance. More maintenance means more spending. More spending means more work. And suddenly, The very things that were supposed to make life better begin to take control of it. Minimalism breaks that cycle. It asks a very simple question before every financial decision. Will this purchase improve my life or complicate it? That one question can change everything. Imagine someone standing in a store looking at a new gadget. The price might not seem like a big deal, maybe $300 or $500. But a minimalist thinker sees something different. They see the future. They see the interest that money could earn if invested. They see the clutter it might add to their home. They see the short excitement, followed by long indifference. And suddenly, the decision becomes easy. Because minimalism trains you to look beyond the moment. Most financial mistakes happen in moments. Moments of excitement, moments of stress, moments of boredom. But wealth is not built in moments. It's built in patterns. The person who checks their spending every week. The person who saves automatically every month. The person who chooses long-term freedom over short-term pleasure. Those patterns quietly reshape an entire life. And here's the fascinating part. The longer you practice minimalist money habits, the easier they become. At first, saying no to unnecessary purchases feels difficult. It can feel like you're missing out. But over time, something surprising happens. You begin to value space more than stuff. Space in your home, space in your schedule, space in your finances. And that space creates clarity. Clarity about what you truly enjoy. Clarity about what actually adds value to your life. Clarity about what deserves your money and what doesn't. Once that clarity appears, spending becomes intentional rather than emotional. And intentional spending is powerful because when you stop wasting money on things that don't matter, you suddenly have more money for the things that do. More money for investing, more money for experiences, more money for opportunities. Opportunities are where financial security truly shows its power. When you have savings, you can take risks. You can start a business. You can change careers. You can move to a new city. You can take time off to learn something new. Without financial security, those choices feel impossible. With financial security, they feel natural. That is why minimalist money habits are not just about surviving financially. They are about expanding your options in life. Options are the real definition of wealth. A person earning 6 figures but trapped in debt has very few options. A person earning modestly but saving consistently has many. They can adapt, they can pivot, they can explore. And in a rapidly changing world, that flexibility is priceless. Another interesting shift happens when people embrace financial minimalism. They begin to notice how often society encourages unnecessary spending, sales that create urgency, advertisements that create insecurity, social media, posts that create comparison. All of these systems are designed to make you feel like you're missing something. But once you step outside that cycle, you realize something important. Most of those purchases were never about happiness. They were about identity. Buying something to feel successful, buying something to feel accepted, buying something to feel confident. But real confidence comes from stability, from knowing your bills are covered, from knowing you have savings, from knowing you are prepared for the unexpected. That quiet stability creates a very different kind of happiness. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it is incredibly powerful. It's the calm feeling of knowing that an emergency won't destroy your finances. It's the relief of not worrying about the next paycheck. It's the peace of having control over your time. And time is the most valuable asset of all. Money can be lost and regained. Time can only move forward. Minimalist money habits protect your time. They prevent you from working endlessly just to maintain an expensive lifestyle. They allow you to gradually reclaim hours, days, and eventually years of your life. That is the deeper purpose of financial security. Not luxury, not status, but freedom over your time. Imagine reaching a point where your investments cover a portion of your expenses. Maybe not everything yet, but enough to reduce pressure. Suddenly, work becomes a choice rather than a survival requirement. You work because you want to, not because you must. That shift changes how you see the world. It changes how you see yourself. And it all begins with small habits, tiny decisions repeated every day. Cooking at home instead of ordering takeout. Waiting before making a purchase. Saving consistently, even when the amount feels small. At first, these actions seem insignificant. But over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, they compound into something remarkable. a life with fewer financial worries, a life with more flexibility, a life where money supports your goals instead of controlling them. And that brings us back, once again, to the two neighbors on the same street. From the outside, their lives once looked identical. Same neighborhood, similar jobs, similar routines. But over time, their choices slowly created two completely different futures. The high earner continued chasing upgrades, bigger expenses, bigger payments, bigger stress. The other neighbor continued choosing simplicity. Lower expenses, higher savings, steady investments. Year after year, the gap widened. Not dramatically at first, just a few $1,000s, then a few more. But compounding is relentless. After a decade, the difference became undeniable. One person still worried about money despite earning more. The other had quietly built stability, freedom, and confidence. And the remarkable part is that nothing about this story requires genius, luck, or perfect timing. It only requires discipline and awareness. Minimalist money habits are not glamorous. They don't promise overnight wealth. But they do something far more valuable. They make financial security predictable. They turn money from a constant source of stress into a quiet partner working in the background of your life. And once you experience that peace, it becomes clear that the goal was never to own more things. The goal was always to own your future. Because at the end of the day, wealth is not the number in your bank account. Wealth is the distance between what you earn and what you need. The smaller that gap becomes, the freer you are. So, the next time you make a financial decision, whether it's a small purchase or a major investment, pause for a moment and ask yourself a simple question. Is this bringing me closer to freedom or further away from it? Because every dollar you spend is shaping your future. And the people who achieve financial security are not the ones who earn the most. They are the ones who choose again and again to live simply, spend intentionally, and build a life where money quietly supports what truly matters. A life of clarity, a life of stability, and most importantly, a life of freedom.